Breaking news. Donald Trump's big mad about the Trump economy. And so this afternoon, as we just discussed, he ordered the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the part of the Department of Labor that collects and reports American employment data, to be fired. They don't do anything else. They just report the data. Now, did Trump do that because the stock market tanked today after the jobs report showed an anemic 73,000 jobs created last month? Or did he do it because he needed yet another outrageous distraction from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal in which he and his administration are currently deeply engulfed? Maybe both. But for sure not for the stated reason that the BLS commissioner was somehow biased against him. I'm pretty sure he didn't know who the BLS commissioner was before this morning. The bad economic news and Epstein were both front-page news today after Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator and convicted child sex trafficker, was quietly moved to a women's-only minimum security federal prison camp in Texas, just days after Maxwell met with the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, Trump's former criminal defense attorney. NBC News reports the Federal Bureau of Prisons did not specify why she was transferred, but according to the Bureau's designation policy, Maxwell appears ineligible to be housed at a minimum security prison camp because she's a convicted sex offender. Sex offenders must be in at least a low-level security prison like Federal Correctional Institution Tallahassee, unless she received a waiver. Only the administrator of BOP's Designation and Sentence Computation Center can make that decision, according to the waiver policy. Trump played dumb today when a reporter asked about what Trump meant Tuesday when he said Jeffrey Epstein stole people from Trump's Florida club.
7 years from the time that you learned that people were being stolen from Mar-a-Lago to the time that you picked that you took on Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, I don't understand your question.
I don't understand your question. Don't let me ask you to repeat it or clarify it. I'm just going to move on now. Nothing to see here. Except Bloomberg reports that Trump isn't in the Epstein files because his name's been blacked out. An FBI Freedom of Information Act team redacted Trump's name and the names of other prominent public figures from the documents, according to 3 people familiar with the matter who were not authorized to speak with the media. That team, tasked with conducting a final review of the voluminous cache, had applied the redactions before the DOJ and the FBI concluded last month that, quote, no further disclosure of the files would be appropriate or warranted, end quote. The family of Virginia Giuffre and 2 other Epstein and Maxwell survivors said this about Maxwell's prison upgrade, quote, President Trump has sent a clear message today. Pedophiles deserve preferential treatment and their victims do not matter. It was with horror and outrage that we object to the preferential treatment convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell has received. Ghislaine Maxwell is a sexual predator who physically assaulted minor children on multiple occasions, and she should never be shown any leniency. Yet without any notification to the Maxwell victims, the government overnight has moved Maxwell to a minimum security luxury prison in Texas. This is the justice system failing victims right before our eyes. The American public should be enraged by the preferential treatment being given to a pedophile and a criminally charged child sex offender. The Trump administration should not credit a word Maxwell says, as the government itself sought charges against Maxwell for being a serial liar. This move smacks of a cover-up. The victims deserve better. Trump wants to make his own reality. Jeffrey Epstein, nothing to see here, in spite of the obvious lack of transparency from him and the administration and the obvious questions raised by that. He wants to do the same thing, by the way, with the economy. The Dow dropped 540 points today, capping its worst week in a month on the heels of today's jobs report. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, which I mentioned earlier, reported that the U.S. economy added just 73,000 net new jobs in July, and the job gains for May and June were revised down by a combined 258,000 jobs. And so Donald Trump, without any evidence, said today the numbers were, quote, rigged in order to make the Republicans and me look bad, a total scam. Not only is today's employment report uniquely bad, but revisions to the prior month show that on average we've seen 35,000 net new jobs created for the last 3 months. January was revised down to 111,000. February was revised down to 102,000. March revised down to 120,000. April, 156,000. May was revised down to 19,000. June was revised down to 14,000. There is simply no way to put lipstick on this pig. And here's the thing. Most people don't follow data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Most people understand the job market viscerally. They see it in their paycheck, in their bank accounts, in their grocery bills. Trump cannot truth social his way out of what Americans are experiencing with their own eyes and their wallets, but that's not going to stop him from trying. Hours after the release of that weak jobs report, Donald Trump fired the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Erica Mettentarfer, on social media. He told reporters this.
I believe the numbers were phony.
It's phony numbers, not Donald Trump's arbitrary and damaging trade war, which he's still pursuing in a way that is arbitrary and damaging, and as a federal appeals court heard this week, quite possibly illegal. The Wall Street Journal editorial board isn't confused about it. Mr. Trump seems to understand that the jobs report signals trouble because on Friday he ordered the firing of the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. He claims the numbers are being politically manipulated, but he offered no proof. BLS has its problems, but the timing suggests he's shooting the messenger. There are bound to be monthly revisions when tariffs and deportation policies are so volatile. Mr. Trump's other scapegoat is the Federal Reserve, which he says has been too late to cut interest rates. Maybe that'll prove to be true, but the Fed also has to navigate Mr. Trump's tariff uncertainty and the large fact that inflation is still above its 2% target. Every public opinion poll says voters remain unhappy about the price increases that they're paying. Donald Trump doesn't want you to trust the numbers, and so he fires the person in charge of reporting the data about his weak economy. This isn't policy. He's not fixing anything. He's just wrecking the public trust, assaulting the data while he undermines the economy. When facts don't serve Trump, he simply tries to erase them, to hide them, to distract from them. This is not an economic strategy. This is gaslighting. And he's been doing it for years. And there's one more thing that colors all the bluster from Donald Trump. While he's wrecking our economy, his family is making money hand over fist. Bloomberg reports today Eric Trump's stake in a Bitcoin mining company could be worth as much as $367 million as the company prepares to go public. That's nearly half the amount American taxpayers are expected to pay to refurbish a private plane from Qatar, which Republican senators have apparently decided that you, the American taxpayer, should gift to Donald Trump when he leaves office. Every single Republican senator, including Susan Collins of Maine on the Appropriations Subcommittee yesterday, voted against an amendment to stop Trump from taking that $1 billion jet home with him. Something is rotten in the Trump presidency, and it's not just the things that Trump claims it is. And people are starting to figure it out.